Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is actor Anthony Alabi of Family Reunion, and I'm hanging with your boy Galaxy on Comic-Con Radio.
Family, I have an announcement. After 15 years of playing pro ball, I've decided to hang up my cleats.
Well, bring your rusty butt on back here then.
I am. We're moving back to Columbus.
My baby! God has answered my prayer. Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
We think that Columbus is a wonderful place to raise our children.
Remember, church starts at 8 a.m.
We don't go to church. Dad says we belong to Bedside Baptist.
Somebody better start praying before I forget I know Jesus. Preach.
Let us have it.
We're awful parents.
I wouldn't say awful.
Look at your child.
Not to your face, anyway.
Ever since we moved here, your mother's been trying to tell me how to raise my kids, how to cook my food, and even how to dress.
Proverbs 14:30. Don't hate playing. I know you kids think I'm strict with all the rules and the chores and Bible school, but these are the things that prepare you for life.
When a loved one goes astray, God can get him home again.
I've come to realize that the path to God is full of ups, downs, starts, stops, twists, turns.
Girl, are you talking about a divine walk or a ride at Six Flags?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy signing in for Comic-Con Radio. Coverage of pop culture events from around the globe. Amazing interviews with celebrities. Daily recaps and reviews of popular television. Movie reviews. Everything Comic-Con and fandom from around the globe. Comic-Con Radio. Get ready to enter our universe. Let's go.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is your boy Galaxy on another amazing episode of Comic-Con Radio. Today we have a cool guest, once a amazing NFL star. We have Anthony Alabi. Anthony, what's up, brother? Welcome to Comic-Con Radio.
Hey, how you doing, man? Good to hear from you. How you doing? How's everything going?
Awesome, pretty good. Welcome today. Thank you for coming on the show. We're happy to have you. We want to know more about you, your projects, your mindset, because you are the first guest that I've had that was once an NFL star and now an actor. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of people that transition from sports into TV shows and movies and stuff like that. But Anthony, what's up?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm very, I would say, fortunate to have that happen. I don't know if I could do it twice. Don't ask me to, but it worked this time. So I'm going to go with it.
It worked this time, right? Was it a hard transition or was it more smooth for you?
You know, for me, essentially what it was is, people often get it, I don't know, they kind of think that you were a football player and you were done playing football, so you're like, what do you go into? And it's acting, and that's not really how it was for me. You know, I always wanted to be an actor since I was a kid. It's all I wanted. But I grew up in Texas, and when you come out the womb and you're 6'6", 360 pounds, you're an offensive lineman and you play football. And so I think that was the thing for me. So I think I decided as a young kid that I really wanted to do this, and that when I got the opportunity after I was done with football, that's what I would go to. And I just, I got lucky enough to get to the NFL, and I was fortunate to have a great career and leave on my own terms, and I got to do this, and now this is kind of working. So it's like I said, I don't know if it's luck. I don't know if it's just hard work and persistence or a combination of both, but I'll take it.
You know what? You are a very unique person, and we are going to give you an applaud because here's the thing. You weren't just an NFL star, man. You have a degree in criminal justice. You have a master's degree. You were on the Miami Dolphins, and now you're acting, and you're killing it. And you have all these things going. People have to understand that, and they have to know that because they just see, oh, he's a sports dude that probably couldn't handle it and became an actor. But it's not like that. I know this business. I know what's up, but I want the people to know that.
Yeah, so, like I said, the funny thing is when I first got here, I didn't even tell anyone I played football. I mean, naturally, you're a big black guy, so they're like, oh, you did something. And I was like, yeah, I played in college or whatever. But I never really, when I went in for an audition, casting directors or anybody who asked, I would never say that because I think the immediate stereotype or the assumption is that, oh, you were just a professional athlete that you missed getting the attention, so obviously you're going to be an actor because you want attention. And that wasn't it for me at all. I was in love with being, with acting. I was in love with kind of the whole experience of going through something and building a character and and just, all of that comes with it. So for me, it was much more than that. And I didn't want it to be cheapened by other people's perceptions of me. And so I never said that. I was just like, I'm an actor, and I'm just trying to kind of come here and see what I can do, and hopefully people will see what I bring to the table and want to cast me in projects. And fortunately, it's so far it's been going well.
Well, that's fascinating to hear, and I understand. It's a struggle. It's a struggle.
It is,
and
yeah.
Especially because you had success as an athlete, you always have to explain yourself and tell them, hey, I'm an artist inside. This is an art form for me. I love it. I heard, I don't know if I'm right or not, but I heard you used to lie about your height and say you were shorter because of some roles.
Yeah, man, I still do. I think what happens is I typically, when people ask me, like, how tall are you? And I go, you want my real height or my Hollywood height? And they go, what? And I'm like, my real height is like 6'5", 6'6", but my Hollywood height is 6'3". And people got confused, and they were like, why? And I said, because if you go into a room and you tell somebody that you're 6'5", 6'6", they're going to be like, you're too tall. I can't cast you. They can't, the camera won't fit you with everybody else, this and that. And it has nothing to do with your talent. It's just, it's kind of almost like a lazy mentality of like, we cannot possibly get you on screen. And it's like, that's not true. But I think it helped a lot to kind of just be like, yeah, I'm 6'3", and they go, like Will Smith, and I go, yep, just like Will Smith.
Yeah, because if Will Smith looks cool on screen, why not you? And
right.
It's possible.
Exactly. Well, I think, if you look, I did a show called Heartbeat, and it was on NBC for a little bit, and the director of that, Reggie Hudlin, who's legend in his own right, he cast me in that as a Kenyan neurologist, right? And it was such a weird thing because Kenyans typically are smaller people, very, very little. And he was like, I loved the idea of having this big guy that is a neurologist who's highly intelligent and can kind of just do this thing. And, casting at that time was like, listen, he's really, really tall. And they kept telling him he's really tall. And he's like, I don't care. And that for me, I think is what has helped me through my career is people looking beyond the exterior, looking beyond the size, looking beyond, the build and everything else, and being like, you know what, he's just a good actor, or I really like what he brings to the table, or he's different. And that is why I think I have a career now, is because people were able to look beyond that and see, oh, he's not just a bouncer or a thug or a detective or a cop. He can actually play roles that have range, roles that have nuances and kind of levels to them. I keep a small circle, but people that are around me or anyone that I've met, I'm a competitive person, right? So that's where football comes in and this and that. And I'm very disciplined, and I kind of really try and do the best that I can and give you everything that I have. So that's where the sports and the athletic background come in. But my typical kind of demeanor every day walking around is I just like to have a good time, and I like to enjoy myself. And I think where we are as a society right now, I think people really underrate happiness. And I think a lot of times we get stuck in the drive to work, go work, drive home, make money and pay bills mentality. And I think there's more to life than that. And I think that's what motivated me the most to leave the NFL and kind of really pursue something that truly made you happy day in and day out without any kind of regard for how much you were being paid for it. Because I think, in my opinion, when you're able to do something that you're absolutely passionate about, that you're absolutely in love with, the good stuff will come just because that energy is there where you want to do well for yourself, not because you're motivated by money or by anything else.
Absolutely. You hit a nail on the head. I love guests like you that come in and share these very truthful situations, and especially in the beginning. And okay, people can say, oh, he was in the NFL and blah, blah, blah. But still, when you're starting out acting, there's no money. There's no money in our world until you get somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, and I tell this story often, two things. One, when I retired, I took all my money and I dumped it in my 401k. And I came here with $10,000. And the reason I did that was because I said, if you look in your bank account every day and you have money, you're not going to work. You're just going to, if you miss an audition or you don't do well on something, you're going to be like, it's fine. But I think when that hunger is there and you can kind of get down into it like a real artist that's starving and starting out, I think that's where the real motivation comes. And not motivation because you're like, oh, I don't have any money, I need to book a job. But more motivation of, I need to be open to every experience. I need to make sure that I'm opening up myself to other people, opening up myself to whatever circumstances come my way, because I think that's what makes a better actor, is someone that is able to live and actually live in the culture, have moments, have real conversations with people, have real interactions with their environment. And I think when you have that, that informs you much more as an actor than just sitting at home and watching, TV or sitting and watching a movie and trying to mimic something that you see on the screen. Now, that being said, my first audition that I had, I booked it, and it was this webisode kind of / game for Burn Notice, right? Now, they paid me $300 for the weekend. It was a non-union job. It was like $300 to work 3 days. It was like $100 a day. And the first day that I got the job, I got a call from my agent, and I hadn't told them I was retiring from the NFL. And they said, listen, we have the Seattle Seahawks who want to offer you a deal. And I remember being in my buddy's living room, and I freaked out. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I have, this money, and I have this contract on the table for football, but I have this thing that I really, really want to do, but it only pays me $300. And I just listened to myself, and I listened to how I reacted, and it was such a visceral reaction to the idea of going back to football that I was like, you know what, I'm done. And I told them I'm retiring, I'm doing this thing. And they laughed, and they were like, are you sure? Are you serious? And I said, yeah. One of the first times that I bet on me, and I was like, I hope this works. And that was it.
And look at you now.
Hey, man, trying.
Right? It's a very rare thing to be vulnerable and to have good timing and all that stuff. To be
right.
Someone as yourself from such a fierce sports background as a football player, you guys kick ass daily. To being this person that's vulnerable and in a drama setting and sharing his heart. So different.
Yeah, it's different, but I don't think that each is mutually exclusive. And I think that's the problem. That's where a lot of people kind of get into trouble. They're like, there's no way that, and I got this a lot when I played. They were like, there's no way that you can be the way you are off the field and just be funny and light and have a good time and be vulnerable and open and honest about your emotions and how you feel about things and not be kind of the typical brooding, stereotypical athlete that just keeps everything to yourself, and yet still be on the field and be violent and disciplined and, just competitive and fierce and relentless. And those two things to me aren't mutually exclusive. I think they're jackets that you put on, and they're different hats that you can put on, and it's just what it is. For me, which is something I brought to the character of Mose on my show, it's the same thing. You are whatever you have to be in the moment. And if the moment dictates comic relief, then that's fine. And if the moment dictates really listening to your partner and having an emotional moment, then that's fine too. And if the moment dictates you having fun or getting upset with someone or getting into an argument or doing whatever, that's what it is. You're not the one thing that you do. People are complicated, and I think we forget that, and we try to simplify people and put them in a box, and that's just not the case.
Well, you said that perfect, man, and that's such a good way to just present yourself to everyone, and it's really amazing. And to be honest with you, man, when I look at you, I don't see NFL person. I see an actor, and I see a comedian, and you fit so well with the ensemble. You fit well, man. It's like, guys, he's been a comedian all his life.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, if I didn't know sports and all that, I would have never figured it out.
Yeah, a lot of people ask if I was a comedian, and I go, I've never done stand-up comedy in my whole life. I just like funny, and I know I kind of see what's funny, and I like it, and I like to take the world and turn it upside down.
You think that's in the playbook for the future, maybe?
What, being a comedian?
Yeah, doing some stand-up, walking around, getting a Netflix
special.
Oh,
no. Right, exactly. No. I think production and producing and kind of creating content and creating my own shows, that's more of my future. I'll leave the stand-up and all the good stuff to the guys who are pros at it.
So I got a question. Girls on set, right? Girls on set, they see you, you're being funny and vulnerable and dramatic. Are they more drawn to you because of that? Because they know inside you can be fierce too? Is that a draw?
Yeah, I mean, women find that very attractive, right? I think who's vulnerable and everything else. I think my wife is the one that she loves it, and so I think she loves to come on set and see when people first meet me, and then she's just like, "See, you see what you're doing?" And I'm like, "What?" And so she cracks up. She thinks it's funny. But yeah, it is a very attractive trait. But I think more than anything, it just allows people to kind of let the guard down. I think, no matter what, it's an attractive trait in anyone. I think when you can talk to somebody and are allowed to be whatever you need to be without being fully judged or anything like that, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else or hurt yourself, I think that's a great thing. I think that's what everybody strives to have in a partner. I think it's what everybody strives to have in a friendship or any kind of relationship, is you just want someone who's going to accept you for who you are and allow you to be vulnerable and take you in. And I think a lot of times, especially in this digital age of like cell phones and TVs and screens, constant this and that, I think we've lost a lot of that emotional connection. And I think a lot of moments are lost because people just don't pay attention to each other. And I think when you finally get somebody that can do that, it's very charismatic, and charisma is sexy. It's attractive.
Did you meet your wife while you were still in the NFL, or was it after?
After. I met her. It's a crazy story. It's super sappy, but it's an awesome story. I'll give you the quick version of it. So we met in a fitness program here in LA. It was a 45-day fitness program. And when we were done, we went on our first date. So we're on this first date. We're in the back of an Uber. We're done with it. We're kind of driving home. And she starts talking about New York. And I was like, yeah, I used to hang out in New York because I was dating somebody there years ago. And I hung out in kind of like Union Square, that kind of area. And she was like, oh, that's funny. That's kind of where I worked. And I was like, oh, nice. And so we were talking, and then she interrupted me, and she goes, I feel like you look like a guy that hit on me in a subway. And I go, nope, not me. I'm too much of a dork. I'm a real nerd. I wouldn't have the confidence to do that. And so she was like, okay. And then she brought it up a couple more times. And I remember the last time she brought it up, I go, listen, maybe it's from TV or a commercial I did or something, but that's not what I do. And then I paused and I went, wait a minute, that was you. And she smiled. Now, cut to 2011, 2012. It was like 3 years before that. I had just broken up with a girlfriend in New York. I was coming off the subway. You know, there's a group of people that kind of rush toward you. All I saw were these ice blue eyes, and we caught eyes and kind of looked at each other. And then I wanted to say, hey, can I stop you so we can get a cup of coffee? But I don't drink coffee, so I kind of stumbled on my words, and she just said, I got to go, and took off. Never saw her again. It was all over. That was my wife. So in the back of the Uber, we were just kind of amazed and looking at each other, and we were like, I can't believe that was you. I can't believe that was you. And it was that, you know, that romantic cloudy moment where everything is just kind of like out of focus and just birds are chirping. That's what happened. And then it was cut by the Uber driver saying, bullshit. And I was like, all right, I guess not. So right then and there, I was like, this is my soulmate. So we wanted to get married, and we were like, our parents will kill us, so let's wait a year. We waited a year, and on that exact day, we got engaged in the subway on the spot where we first saw each other.
Nice. How cool must that feel?
Yeah. I just thought it was pretty awesome, the fact that we had met years prior and didn't really know it.
And she remembered.
Circled back.
And she remembered.
She remembered.
And now you know to never, ever, ever not agree with her because she has a memory like that. You know?
Yeah, exactly, right? She's like, plus, it's like an elephant.
Plus, you know, like a 7-foot dude hits on you in a subway, you're going to remember that.
Exactly. That's right.
But that's cool, man, that you were able to do that, go back to New York, go back on that subway and do your, man, that's cool.
It was pretty cool, and we love it. We go back every time now. Every time we go to New York, we go to the spot, and we kind of take a picture and hang out for a little bit.
New York's amazing, man. That must have been such a fun trip. It probably started so many cool things in your life. So your wife supports your acting career. She loves that you're a part of it.
Oh, my God. Naturally, in this business, there's so many times where you're just like, I'm kind of done with this. I don't know how long I can sustain this. Nothing's really working or this and that. And you hit rough patches. And my wife, every single time that I've ever wanted to leave the business or just find it very, very difficult, she'd look at me and say, I would live with you in a cardboard box, but you're not going to stop acting. And this is even when we had kids. And I think that's the support that I needed. And I think it was the support that I was gifted by her. And such an amazing person to be able to do that. And because of her that we have this life that we have now. It's not me, and no one gets here alone. But she was definitely a huge integral part of making all of this happen.
That's wonderful, man. That support you needed, because there's a lot of little waves and rocky bumps. Even though you can be on an amazing TV series or a movie, you're still going to hit bumps because maybe it wasn't something that creatively got you or whatever, but that's really cool that you got that, man. That's really, really cool. So
she's phenomenal. She really
so here's the thing. You're on Family Reunion, right? New TV show. You're working with Tia Mowry. How is that? Do you ever watch her TV shows, her and her sister?
I did. Yeah, I did. My sister watched it. I always found Tia and Tamara really funny, and I loved the way their comedy. And so when I heard that she was going to be Coco, I was the last one cast. I knew of the whole cast before I even got the job. And so when I heard it was her, that would be perfect to work with her because we have the same kind of comedy. We're both kind of goofy. And I just think it would be a nice thing. And, you know, we never got to really work together, let alone meet, before we started rehearsals on Family Reunion. And so the first day we did the first take together, and after it was done, everybody was just kind of like, wow, you guys just locked right in, and it kind of just worked. So since day one, her and I, as Coco and Mose, just kind of really worked.
And on that TV series, you guys are married, right?
Yeah, she plays my wife, Coco. We have 4 kids. We moved from Seattle back to Georgia, Columbus, Georgia, where my mom and my dad live, and we move into their house while we look for a new place. But it's all the hilarity that ensues from my parents being such conservative, Southern, religious people. And then we move in and we're so liberal and kind of new age parents and just very loosey-goosey. And so the juxtaposition of having those two kind of philosophies come together under one roof is it's just funny. And there's so many ups and downs. There's laughing, there's crying, there's surprise aha moments, and it's such an amazing thing.
This is such a great leading role for you, man. It goes a little bit with the truth of your background, the NFL player, then you're trying to move, and it gives this reality. Do you like that Netflix releases the entire season at once? Do you like that? I know some people I talk to don't, but some really love it. What do you feel about that?
I do. I think it goes with the times. I think the way that we are now as a society, I mean, I look at my own life, like I just don't have time. And I think if you sit there and you have to, and I'm not knocking that formula. That formula has worked for decades and it still works. I just personally, for me, I just don't have the time to schedule my life around a show that I really like. And maybe I can do it once or twice, but I can't do it week in and week out. So for me, the ability to go back and watch it, the ability to have it all come available at one time and to watch it as I see fit when I want. If I want to binge it all in a day, I can. If I want to space it out, it's my prerogative. So I think it's such a great thing to give, consumers and fans that ability to rewatch stuff if they want, to take it and piecemeal it out because they love the show so much they don't want to binge it all in one day or to binge it all in one day. So I think I love that formula. I think it really works, and I think it's kind of where everything is heading.
Yeah, I like that too. I want all the episodes. Let me watch when I want, because some shows I just want to binge. I don't want to wait a week and then wait and I forget what happened. But yeah, it's a cool formula. We live with that. But I love the new formula. It's really cool.
I do too. I think it just lends to storytelling. I think that way you don't have to, watch it one week, forget about it over the weekend, watch it again. You know what I mean? And now you get to kind of see the entire arc of the story. So now it just feels like one big movie, even though it's maybe, 13 episodes.
Oh, yeah. It's like a big 6-hour movie, 7-hour movie, which is fun. Sometimes you don't want to stop some movies. You want to sit there 7 hours and watch the entire thing.
Right, exactly.
This show is really cool, man. And you're working with Loretta Devine. She's great, I think.
She's a legend.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because we all kind of take on our personalities of our characters on set. So it's really funny to see, Loretta treats me like her son. You know what I mean?
She's
I treat her like my mother on set. So. Yeah, it's so beautiful. So it just kind of works, and she's really, really fun and so sweet. And I just love kind of every day getting to work and see her. It's a treat.
You are from Texas, right? You're a Texas native.
Yep.
How was it growing up there? How was the climate? How was your surroundings? Because I know they probably guided you towards football. Was there a little actor in there somewhere as when you were growing up?
Growing up in Texas it's crazy. Just because everything was so sports centered with me growing up. My dad being a Nigerian, he loves sports. He loves it. I mean, my dad will watch like underwater basket weaving if it's on ESPN. It's just kind of his thing. Like he's really into it. So, for me, I think that was kind of the main focus. The idea of being an artist or an actor really was something that people didn't really talk about. It was kind of just not really a thing, especially because the two aren't very close in that world. So I kind of left it alone. I never really told anybody how I felt. My dad knew a little bit because it's his fault. He took us to the movies as kids, and we would binge watch like 3 or 4 movies at a time, and I loved it. It was like the absolute best thing for me. So, growing up, it was always sports, but I always had the affinity of wanting to watch the movies or wanting to watch a TV show or that. So he knew I was a big ham and that I loved that stuff, but it was always kind of like football first,
So football first and the art stuff.
Football first.
Was there, but you never want to express yourself, not get into those feelings right now, because maybe it did happen. At one point in your life, all of a sudden, it did come out, right? Like, I'm artsy, I'm dramatic, I'm this, I'm that. I want to show the world a different side of me. I think that happens when you're a kid. I think it's always there.
I think, it's always there, but I think as a kid, you kind of just realize, like, where you are and the circumstances. And for me, I just made a decision. I was like, listen, I'm gonna do this football thing, and I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. And I'm gonna tell you right now, like, I football was all I thought about. I kind of put the acting stuff on the back burner. I was like, that's going to come later on. For me, it's just football right now. That's all I want to focus on. That's all I wanted to concentrate on. So that was what I did. I just focused on being the best athlete possible, on getting a scholarship, on getting drafted, and on being, a successful, player in the NFL, in the National Football League. So for me, that was the focus. Now, once the opportunity presented itself for that kind of background dream to come back to life, I took it immediately. I didn't hesitate. So I think it was always there. It's just one of those things that you got to kind of realize where you are and what's probable or possible and available to you. And I kind of just waited until the moment was right.
Was your parents or is your parents more proud when you were a pro athlete or as an actor now? Which one of them did I love more?
Yeah, I think my dad, of course, he loved, having a son that played in the NFL and this and that. But I think it's done. I think he saw that and he was like, you made it. Like, you did it. You went to the NFL. You were there and you got drafted and everything. And I think that part of him is fulfilled with that. I think now my parents, naturally, whenever you have kids, you just want them to be happy. And whether that means them being a gardener or a janitor or a doctor or corporate world, it doesn't matter. You just want them to be happy. And I think my parents see how happy I am, or my dad sees how happy I am. And they just, I think that is the biggest thing. I think he's happy that I'm doing everything that I want to do and that I'm actually I'm okay at it and things are going well. So I think that's what he appreciates more than anything else.
You went through the NFL thing and the sports thing, and now you're an actor. You have 2 children. If your children came up to you and said, I want to be in the NFL, would you allow them to go, or would you say, hey, acting's cool? Because I know it's hard.
Of course.
How about you? What do you think about that?
For me, I get this question a lot where they were like, are you going to let your son play football? Or are you going to let, your daughter act, whatever? You can't, I don't believe in stopping them from doing something that they're really passionate about. I'll inform them of all this stuff. Now, if you're asking for my preferences, I don't want my son to play football. I would prefer he didn't. I would prefer my son to do anything else that would, kind of preserve his body and make him, so he doesn't have to go through the hardships, because I did that, so he wouldn't have to go through all that. Now, that being said, if it's something that he enjoys and something he loves, I can't really stop him. You know what I mean? It's just, you don't ever want to squash that, because if that's what truly makes him happy, then you're stopping happiness, and that's the whole point, right? So, I look at my daughter, and it's the same thing. The only thing I say about the acting thing is I just think I think the best actors had life experience for me. So in my opinion, I wouldn't let her be kind of a child actor. I would wait and tell her to wait until she graduated from high school. And then once she graduated from high school, you can kind of do whatever you want. And if you wanted to pursue acting, then that's something you could do. But that's more of the reason for that, is so that way she can have a full life experience as she's growing up, and she can really see things the way they are, not through a filtered view of kind of being a child actor. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's perfectly great. I work with kids all day, and I think it's phenomenal. And they're beautiful kids, and their parents do such a great job of doing the balance between work and life and making sure that they stay kids. But for my kids personally, I would just prefer her to wait until she was out of high school.
That's a pretty cool way to see things. You're basically saying if they want to do it, you can't stop them, but you're giving them a good sense because you've experienced it. And I feel you. I feel what you're saying, and I absolutely understand. And your point of view is amazing. And that's a great way to live and raise your kids and have that mentality. Because look what you've been through, right? You were born in Texas, athletics, went into the NFL, then became an actor. Look at all this history and all these things that happen in your life.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. So, Marvel or DC? I always ask this.
I'm conflicted because I'm a Marvel fan. I love Marvel. I'm a huge Marvel fan, but I am also a gigantic Batman fan. So for me, I think I love Batman, and I love that the movies, and I love the character, and for me that's my favorite superhero. It's kind of a battle between that and Iron Man. So I don't know. I mean, I'd have to say Marvel just because of the movies. The movies are better, and I just think it's a cool kind of thing. But I'll never shut the door on DC. I mean, I love all those characters too.
Well, I always tell everyone I love DC TV and Marvel movies. That's like my opinion. And
that's it. Yeah, there you go.
Right. I like to hear everybody's opinions. And ladies and gems, a lot of producers listen to this show, and a lot of like directors and people. He's not saying that he prefers one or the other, so don't point a career direction for this guy, okay? He's just saying he loves Batman and he likes Marvel movies.
That's it. That's all I'm saying. I enjoy the Rocket, and I enjoy like Captain America, and my wife loves that, the Captain America movies. So we typically tend to lean toward the Marvel movies just because there's so many of them, and we just like watching them.
Isn't it cool that all these crazy superhero stuff and all these movies that's taken over our lives started with a few people's imaginations, and look at where we're at today?
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what it takes, right? It's just somebody who's inspired, somebody who's passionate about what they were doing, and I think that kind of thing is infectious. And I think that's what Stan Lee did, right? He kind of took things that he was passionate about, and he used his imagination and his creativity to create something that really just kind of infected everybody and just made everybody want to make it better. And that's why we are where we are now.
Absolutely. And I have one more question I got to ask you, and I don't think you're crazy or anything. Do you believe in aliens?
Do I believe in aliens? I'm gonna take the line. Here's the thing. I think I as an actor, I want to say yes because I think it makes life more interesting. But in all honesty, I'm taking that line from Jodie Foster in Contact, where she goes, with all the millions and millions of galaxies and the billions and billions of stars, and if we are truly alone, isn't that just a great waste of space?
Dang, you just said it right, man. I forgot that line. That's such a beautiful line right there. You said it. So
that's
the
line,
yes.
man. It's just like yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. Like, isn't that's a big waste.
Yes.
If you have all of this stuff and that's it, it's just us. I just feel like there's more.
Well, there's like handfuls of planets that are in like the Goldilocks zone. I asked that because I want to get everybody's mindset. You seem like a very cool dude.
Thanks, man.
You give very honest answers. So I was like, hey, let me joke around a little bit.
Yeah.
So what's in the works for you, Anthony? What else?
What else is in the
life of Anthony?
Yeah. So much. We have this first part of season 1 has dropped on July 10th. It came out. People love it. Everyone's asking for part 2. Part 2 will be here at the end of the year, and they can watch the second 10 episodes of season 1. And then hopefully we'll find out and see if we get a season 2. I mean, I love this show. It's a dream come true for me, so I would love to continue to work on it. That being said, I'm recurring on Shameless for their 10th season, and I play the character of Mavar, who is kind of a mentor to Liam, who is the youngest member of the Gallagher family. And yeah, you'll see there's a lot of surprises, story arcs and stuff like that, but I won't ruin anything. But yeah, I'm working on Shameless, and I'm working on producing content and really trying to get a couple of shows made and executive produce and do those things.
That's so cool, man. And you have that focus, so why not? Why not?
Why not?
Do it all, man.
Why not, man?
Do it all while you can, because it's out there. And these days with technology and social media and everything, it's easier in some ways, harder in other ways, but the opportunity is there. Take advantage and do great. And, that's amazing. And I'm so happy you came on the show because it brings a certain light to the show because, I always wanted to chat with someone with your background and stuff like that and talk about what's up, what's going on. And it's been so pleasant, man. The fans,
I appreciate it,
want to reach you, Anthony. How do they get a hold of you on social? How do they DM you? Where do they message you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Anthony Alabi Official, and I'm on Twitter at Anthony Alabi. So if anybody, just DM me. Any of the fans of Family Reunion know. Whenever I'm available, I always try to reply. I always respond to DMs. I'm very kind of interactive with fans because those are, and I think of them more as supporters. It's not really fans. It's people that support you and lift you up and help you to kind of get to where you need to be. So I'm always very appreciative of anybody that is willing to kind of like reach out and be like, hey man, I really enjoyed the show, or I appreciate it, or even if they're just like, hey, man, you're not funny, I'll be like, all right, cool. I appreciate you watching anyway. It's always fun to kind of interact with people and to see what they're doing.
Well, you know what? You're going to get every kind of comment and opinion. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up is because back in the days, like a decade, 2-3 decades ago, the only way you can interact with people like yourself is if you saw an interview on like a special TV show or some kind of article.
Yeah.
That's it. But these days, people are so lucky and they should take advantage of it because look, you're on this TV series that they watch and they're messaging you and you're responding back. That's so cool. People don't realize how cool it is, you know?
Yeah, the access that you have now to anybody is just unprecedented. I mean, it's pretty amazing, because before, if you wanted to see the personality of any actor or artist that you were into, you had to wait for, like, you know, either a Jimmy Kimmel or not even Jimmy Kimmel, a late night interview with, you know, on a late night talk show, or kind of a news article or some kind of special radio or broadcast thing. Whereas now, with YouTube and Instagram, you kind of have daily access, hourly access to these people, and as much as they want to give or whatever, but it's pretty phenomenal, the amount of connection that we have with each other.
You hit it on the head, and it's kind of cool that you do respond to people, and you know, I know you get the cool and the crazies, and you got to respond to everyone these days, because if you don't, they're going to keep bothering you. But it is unprecedented.
Exactly.
It is. The access these days. And we, as fans, as, you know, the people out there that watch all these amazing people on the screen, should be so grateful for that access. We take it for granted. But you hit it on the head. Thank you so much for being so kind with everyone and pouring your heart out. Is there anything you want to tell the fans before we head out, Anthony?
All I want to say is I really appreciate everybody for watching Family Reunion. I appreciate you guys for supporting me and supporting our cast. And honestly, keep sending out messages on Instagram and social media. Keep, you know, asking for season 2, and please keep watching the show and put it on loop in the background. I don't care. Do whatever you can. So hopefully we can get this season 2 going. And we love you, and we appreciate all the support.
Absolutely. Let's get season 2 for Family Reunion out there. Vote, share, tell everyone. We got to keep Anthony on the air, man. We got to keep him on. And get a hold of him on Instagram at Anthony Alabi, on Twitter. Official. And it's all good. It's all great.
Yeah, buddy.
And we're going to sign out. Are you ready?
I am.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is your boy, Galaxy, with the amazing Anthony Alabi on Comic-Con Radio. Anthony, let's give him a billion kisses. 3, 2, 1, mwah, a billion kisses.
Mwah, 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 mwah.
There you go. And those are some big ass kisses for you guys. Yeah. Everybody out there. But thank you guys for tuning in. Please follow him. Please DM him. Make sure you tune in and watch live on Netflix, and make sure a season 2 happens. Support his career. He's a really cool dude. Thank you so much, Anthony, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you having me on, and thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. You guys have a great one, and all success.
And with that said, peace.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy signing out from another amazing episode of Comic-Con Radio. Tune in for your daily shows of Comic-Con Radio. Go to comiccon-radio.com. Reach us on social media. Instagram at Comic-Con Radio. Comic-Con Radio, taking the world one listener at a time.
I loved it, man. That was fantastic. You have a great show here.